I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on this fourth installment of what we have been doing, talking about Grambling athletics for the past, three previous times. We just want to hear what people have to say, their thoughts, because a lot of times our conversations and our thoughts are not really, we don't really know what other people are saying. So this gives us an opportunity to kind of meet people, and not necessarily, we don't want everybody to have the same ideas, because I'm not sitting here trying to pick everybody that likes what's going on, dislikes going on. I just want to hear people's sides. And I think we don't know, we have to have good conversation going forward, and to make sure that whatever we do it with the best interest of Grambling State University at the forefront. So we may have different ways of getting that to that point, but at the basis, we want everybody to, we all want what's best for Grambling State University and student athletes and students and alums and everybody like that. Okay, let's start off by saying, obviously we know by now that on the, Monday, the 15th November, that the school had decided to make a change at the coaching position at football. I've heard different sides. Some are not happy with the fact that it was done, period. Some are not happy with the fact that it was done prior to the Bayou Classic. And then there were some that thought it should have been done earlier. And we want to make sure that we listen to the comments, and we're not here to judge anybody. We're not going to argue anybody's opinion. But if there's some situations where facts come in, I will interject information that I do know to be factual about certain things, which I don't know everything about everything, but I know a little bit about something. So, all right, let's go with Tyrone. Let's start with you, Tyrone Davis. When you first heard of this situation, what were your thoughts?
My thought was, I was a little shocked that it was done when it was done, but I have coached in a travel ball level, and I've watched college ball all my life, and they've been involved in high school, and there's never a right time to fire a coach. But also coaches realize you're hired, and if you're not winning or things not going right, you're going to be let go. And there's no right way and no wrong way of doing it. You're going to part ways, and everybody can't be happy. That's a decision that I'm sure President Gallo made. I know Scott had to do it, but I know he wasn't the one who made that decision. But I have no problem with it at all.
Other than the fact of when it was done?
The way it was done, I have no problem with it.
Okay.
I don't know any other way. Like I said, we didn't get details. We never get details at Grambling. We just got a thing saying he was relieved. We don't know if it was with a meeting they had or over dinner.
I guess when I say how it was done, mean when it was done leading up to the Bayou Classic. I guess that's what I'm saying.
I don't have a problem with it at all. One game left, okay. 2 games left. Other coach, Eddie Orgeron was let coach, and he was told 9 weeks ago he's going to be let go and get paid $17 million. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
Okay. All right, then. I appreciate it. Let's go with Kirk. Kirk, what do you feel about that?
I think from a strategic standpoint, it would have made it a lot more difficult to let him go if we won the Bayou Classic. I think the timing is right. I've made this known in many online platforms. With the football program being the breadwinner of the school, per se, athletically, and the history that goes behind the G on the helmet, we need to be there with those elite programs, and we were not. You flash back to 96, 95, we would beat Florida A&M. We would beat Hampton in bigger platforms and Meadowlands. And you can kind of see these schools have superseded us, not only talent-wise, coaching-wise, but just all around. And you can see Grambling's acceptance rate, 97%. They pretty much take everyone. When you got Southern University's acceptance rate, 37%. So I think we got to kind of turn the school in a different direction athletically, but also academically. But I was not surprised at him being let go. I was not upset about it. We're going to have to spend a little money to get a reputable name in to kind of turn things around.
Okay, then. I appreciate that. Let's go with Ed Crane.
Well, I wasn't disappointed by he got let go. If it was up to me, I would let him go when we lost to Prairie View. It's been 4 years. We done lost Prairie View 4 years in a row. So when we lost to Prairie View, I knew the writing was on the wall. And I would have let him go that night, period. That's how I feel about it.
Okay. All right, then let's go with Sherry McCurry.
I was pretty much just, I knew he was going to be let go because we just weren't winning and we like to win. But I just feel like I'm one of those season ticket holders, and there's just a disconnect between what the alumni is wanting and what we're getting, as far as football and the financial support. So we all know where we want to be, but we don't have a plan to get us there. So we just need to really have some conversations with the administration about that. But, I was a Fobbs fan. I think he's probably one of my classmates. And he brought that energy for me of like Coach Rob and one of our own. But at the end of the day, we do want to win, and it's a job. And, if you don't produce, then, you have to have someone else to fill those shoes. But we definitely need to come together I notice on Facebook, a lot of people talk, but when it comes to putting up, they don't put up. So we want to be somewhere, but it takes money and time and a plan. And so we want that, but we're not doing the steps to get us there.
Okay, then. All right, then let's go with Rogers Nunnery.
Yes, sir. I feel that the firing of the coach was overdue. And as I stated, I'm not a Grambling graduate, but I'm a Grambling fan. I've been following Grambling since the 60s. And like I mentioned, I'm retired Navy. And after the Navy, I spent the last 25 years in corporate America. So I'm saying all that to say, in business and also in the military, you make decisions on how you go forward and not how you look backwards. And I just feel that the program was floundering from my perspective, and also looking at what's happening in the SWAC, which I've been, once again, been a longtime fan of the SWAC. You had a dramatic change that took place with the hiring of the coach at Jackson State. And I'm saying that in respect to Grambling and others, everyone has to, once again, step up their game, because in business and other affairs, you have to compete. And so, once again, I feel like the firing was overdue.
All right, then let's go with Mike Williams.
Well, it's never good when a coach gets fired, because it's a reflection not just on the coach, but on the entire program. So I thought there were some problems in the entire football program as well, long before coach being let go, and that should have been addressed. So I think, coach was let go not because of his winning record. I think he was let go because of the unpopularity of when he got on the wrong side of the popularity poll, and of course it was beginning to fly. Stuff was beginning to fall back on some other folks in the administration. He was let go in that respect. So in the business of athletics, coaches get let go when they start to fail. So there's never a good time to let a coach go under any circumstances. And I do believe too, probably we should have waited after Bayou Classic to make that change. I don't think it would have mattered one way or the other. I think that was let go to avoid reflection on the administration had he lost. And so one more game, I think we should have given him that. That's just my perspective.
Let's go with James Murphy.
Well, hello, everyone. I kind of agree with what Mike was saying, is that I believe that we should just wait till the end of the season, because it doesn't matter if you had, him as a coach or an interim coach where we're just doing terrible. But this is the one question I want to put out there more so than a comment. Was he given all the tools as far as assistant coaches and everything? Because I remember spring football that the offensive coordinator quit and then had to get someone else and everything. Was he given the tools, meaning the offensive defensive coordinator? Was he given everything that he needed as far as coaches and facilities? And that's a whole nother little discussion there. Was he given all the tools to be successful? And I don't believe he was given all the tools that he needed. So in saying that, I really honestly thought, like, let him finish out Bayou Classic. I mean, because you brought us a national championship, Celebration Bowl wins, SWAC championships and everything. It's like, just give him that one more game, because I think we're going to lose to Southern. So it don't matter if you have the interim coach or him coaching. I believe we're going to lose. So I just think that we should have waited and wait to the end of the season, then make all the changes that need to be done.
Okay, we'll talk about the other part of your question once we get through this first phase of questioning, and we'll circle back to that. Let's go with Bruce Bailey.
Yeah. So I'm a Files fan, just like Miss Sherry said she is as well. I went to school with Roger when I was at Grambling 92 to 94. I knew it was probably time for him to be released, but I also agree with James. Was he given the tools, right? The other thing is, when we're looking at this program right now, you're going to have to make a big splash. You look at Jackson State, and Jackson State made a splash by bringing in Coach Prime. We're not prepared. I don't think we're prepared to bring in a name like that. And that's the only way you're going to get talent these days, because young kids are coming to schools with name recognition. They're following names. There's no longer following the big G like we went to school for the big G, right? We rep the G. Now they're following names. And if you don't have that big name like a Coach Prime or whoever may be the case, it's highly likely that you won't get it. Coach Prime just brought in some other 4-star guys that's transferring over there. How many more people can he bring in? That's a question we always ask, right? But he's doing the same thing that the Alabamas and all those big schools did before. For us to compete, you're gonna have to go get a big name, and are we prepared to spend that kind of money? So think about that.
Okay, all right, I appreciate it.
I forgot to say, can I chime in? I do think we should have waited till after Bayou Classic. That was the question. Wait till after Bayou Classic before we let him go.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Ray. I agree with Miss Sherry. I felt the same way. I didn't get that piece.
Okay. All right, then let's go with Kendrick. He may be off. Okay, Greg, can you chime in? I know you're doing a double duty there. You got time to chime in?
Hey, Ray, what was the question?
How did you feel about the announcement that was made on Monday, Coach Grambling letting Coach Fobbs relieving him of duties?
My first initial thought, Ray, was shoot. I said I thought it would be, after the season, because if we let him go this far into the season, I would have thought they would have let him coach one more game. That was my initial thought.
Right.
But when
hey man, your sound went out, Greg. Greg, your sound went out. Hey, Greg. We can't hear you. Okay. We can't, Greg, we can't hear anything you're saying. You cut out on us. Your audio cut out on us. We'll let him get that straight, and we will circle. Well, let me get my ideas on it. On my idea on it. I don't have a problem with what was done. I actually don't have a problem with when it was done. I would have done it earlier. If I was in that position to make that call, I would have done it earlier. But to me, I can understand why they did that. It gives you some extra time and puts your It puts the coaches that are out there possibly looking to change positions. It gives them notice that, hey, Grambling is looking for a head coaching job. It gives you a week earlier. I hope we don't fumble it like, and I use that word loosely, like Alabama State. Alabama State let their coach go, I think the 2nd of November, right after the Magic City Classic. So that gives them a lot of time to, weed coaches in and out, do some interviews and things like that. And that's what I think this could do. I'm not saying, I don't know if we're doing it. I'm just saying I can understand by putting it out there that Grambling is looking for a coach. And a lot of coaches are going to be making moves. There are going to be a lot of moves between now and December. There's going to be a lot of moves between now and the first weekend, the second weekend in December, and I'm sure a lot more before the end of the year. So I don't really have a problem with what they did. My only concern by doing it then was you don't know how the students were going to react. The student athletes were going to react. That would be my only situation with that.
Hey, Ray, question for you. Since you are close to the program and any of the others that are there.
I'm not close to the program.
Okay, let me know when I say close to the program, I mean in proximity of the university where you may have more facts than most of us that are not there. Tell me about the program, not just the win-loss record. Tell me what you know about the program, because oftentimes we look at a coach's win-loss record and think that's all there is. You talk about the student athletes or the football players. Tell me about, what do you know about the program, the football program?
Okay, well,
how much was that a factor?
Let me finish up with the line of question, because I got another person, Kendrick Shanklin, who hasn't had a chance to respond to the first question. So I'm gonna throw it to Kendrick. And Kendrick, the question was and is, when you found out about Coach Fobbs no longer being the coach of Grambling, what were your thoughts?
Well, I guess I could say the timing was a bit puzzling because I didn't understand the timing of it to do it at that particular point in time. The fact that they actually made the move is not surprising at all. Like I said, we've been struggling for the past couple of years, primarily offensively. And the hires that he made offensively just didn't do well for him. I would have liked to seen some other people maybe get that position, BOC or whatever, but ultimately our offense basically killed us this year. But the timing of it is a bit puzzling. I would have liked them see him coach at least one more game, coach the Classic, do it a little bit better than that Classic. I'm guessing that they want to get ahead of the early coaching to see if they can put some fillers out there. But like I said, it was just confusing as the timing of the firing. You should have let him coach one more game.
Okay. And Greg, I know that your audio cut out on you. Did you have any, to finish off your statements that you were making? You have anything to say, Greg?
Can you hear me now, Ray?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I was just saying about the time, and I just said maybe energize the alumni base, and maybe it'll just give people a reason to go to the Value Class.
Okay. Okay, then. All right. So since we're finished with that first round of questions, now, Mike, you were saying that you wanted me to tell you about the program.
Yes, because there were I think you're going to touch on it anyway, because there were questions about him not being given the tools, which I can tell I completely 100% disagree with. But you talk about the tools to do that. So what about the program?
Okay, well, here's my perspective, and this is from the information that I know. I've done research on it, and I know to be true. I'm not manufacturing. If I'll tell you if it's my opinion, or I'll tell you something that I know. This is what I know. Broderick Fobbs has, at one time, has more resources at his disposal. And I'm not saying that it's enough. I'm just saying he's had more resources at his disposal than any coach in the history of Grambling State University. That is factual. That is factual. Whether it's enough, that's debatable, okay? Because I don't think any coach is going to say that they have enough. They're always going to need, you know, more of this, more of that, more of this. I have not been able to have time to go over to the library to check out and see what the budget is and what it has been for the past 10 years, because you need at least 10 to 15 years to get an idea of the fluctuations in the budget. You know, we've had different governors between then and there, and things happen. So I don't know what the budget is. I don't know what the recruiting budget is. But I keep hearing that a lot, saying that you know, he didn't have a recruiting budget. Well, if he didn't have it, nobody had it, because you know, we've been doing, you know, we haven't been flush with a lot of money, and that situation to me is a lot, is broad. You know, there's alumni giving, there's there's information from corporate America as far as sponsorships. You know, there's ticket sales, there's apparel sales, there's parking, you know, concessions. A lot of that come into what goes into the budget and how things are budgeted. You know, the athletic fee that the students are paying, that wasn't around all the time. It's been around for probably, I think it came in when Broadway was here. I think that came in when Broadway was here, but that wasn't always the case. You know, when Doug was here his first time, he didn't get, I don't think he had the luxury of having 1 point something million in athletic fees from the students. So, you know, yes, do I think Coach Fobbs, just like any other coach that we've had, needed more? Absolutely. But as far as what he had his hands on and what he was able to do, I guess I need more specifics. When I hear people say that he wasn't given the resources or that sort of thing, I guess I need an explanation so I can maybe pinpoint my questions to that particular thing instead of a broad stroke of that kind of thing. So does anybody have a specific or specifics about what he was not given so I can kind of pinpoint?
This is Rogers. I have a question on, you were referring to the state of the program. And once again, as a fan from afar, has there been a large attrition rate over the last 3 to 4 years? Because I follow Grambling football through the media and look at what's there, what's returning, what's projected. And I notice a lot of players, it appears to me, a lot of players do not return for upcoming seasons. So I was wondering if you had any insight on what the attrition rate has been over the last three years.
I don't know, but I have on the site, I know we've kind of kept up with it a little bit, maybe not as much, I guess, long-term, but, you know, we've talked about it on Go Grambling multiple times in multiple years about getting transfers in, the transfers not working out, and things like that. So, you know, to answer your question specifically, no, I cannot give you any data on that specifically.
Okay.
We do have some forums on some threads on Go Grambling where we go year to year and see kind of where are they now kind of things, to see where that player, after that person has left Grambling, whatever, what did they contribute while they were there, to get an idea of how the recruiting and retention has played out.
Okay, and I was referring more so towards to people who, for example, they were scheduled to be a part of this year's team, but for some reason or another, they're not a part of the team.
Well, it could be a number of things. It could be that their transfer, if they were transferring, it could have been their paperwork wasn't what it was supposed to be, and they weren't able to get everything cleared through the clearinghouse, and that delayed or prohibited them from participating in this year's on this year's team.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I think one of the problems, Ray, and it's not Coach Fobbs or anybody else, Grambling has not had a high quality athletic director since I don't know when, or if they ever had one. You have to, in this day and age, you have to have a qualified AD to run the whole athletic department. And that has not occurred at Grambling. We've had some likable people, but they were not qualified to be athletic director.
Okay. All right. Anybody that has a specific question about Coach Fobbs not getting the the tools that he needed, so I can kind of maybe address that?
Right here, Ray. I think as far as the tools, I think it also has to go into our facilities. Like, I don't know if it was you that posted it or something like that, but during the all season, well, I don't know if it was really all season because they had spring football and everything. The stadium itself is that, you know, we have the same bathrooms or whatever since since the 1980s, since they opened up the stadium in '84. And as far as, you know, the football team, the field house and so forth, it took almost to what, 2004 or 5 to build the facility, and then they really have not put a lot into the facility once it was built, the upkeep of it, you know, because that's why that one, I forgot what year that was, that the football team didn't even go to Jackson for Jackson's homecoming game because of the facilities and everything. The football team went on strike, said, no, we're not going. So as far as tools, I want to ask about the tools as far as the facilities, the practice facilities and so forth, the weight room and the locker room and all those things. Has things been put into the budget to modernize, you know, to upkeep the stadium and the practice facilities? Because if a kid comes in, they see a sloppy weight room, they see, you know, the facilities not being up to par and everything, you know, what students or student athletes are going to want to come there if those things are not being taken care of? The stadium itself, the upkeep of the stadium. I know we got the new artificial field, which is beautiful and nice, but the upkeep of the stadium, you know, I heard there was supposed to be a phase 2 program where to modernize the stadium, you know, the concession stands and the bathrooms and so forth in Robinson Stadium and everything. So once again, that goes into how many people come to the game and overall attendance. And that goes back into your initial question about the tools. The tools and are the facilities up to a point where, you know, that, you know, you get students and people to come to the games, and then the facilities as far as the practice field and so forth, were those kept enough that, you know, that they have the facilities and everything they need for him to be successful?
Okay, to answer, I guess, your initial question, yes, because I think it was the 2016 season when we got the turf and when we got the scoreboard, and for us to get both of those in the same year, you know, was a big deal. That was a big deal. In our present iteration, that's a big deal to get both of those things in the same year. So and then along that same line with the boycott, there was already a group in place that had the floor ready to put down before that happened. It wasn't after, it was before that happened. And then that's where the situation with Dr. Pogue and a power struggle or whatever you want to call it happened. Misinformation, half-truths or whatever. There was a floor for the weight room and for the locker room ready to go. And if you followed that closely, I think one of the people from the newspaper asked Dr. Pogue directly, said, well, the material that was acquired by this group, is it going to be used for the, you know, for the facility? He said, yes. Well, because it was already there. So yeah, there's a new floor. There's basically a new floor, a new turf, new scoreboard. I do know that they have done some upgrades to with Powerade. Coca-Cola have done some things to the weight room with power, you know, with adding drinks and things like that. They've got a makeover in the weight room. I'm not sure exactly as far as did they get any new equipment. I'm not sure about that. I can't answer that question because I haven't been in there for a couple of years. But I do know that they have gotten some information, some new upgrades to aesthetically, something that's nutrition-wise, something to help the student athletes when they're trying to refuel themselves and things like that. I do know that has happened. The new turf, the new scoreboard, new floors in the weight room, and I believe new floors in the locker rooms. So Are we due for some upgrades otherwise, like lockers? Probably so. I do know that there were TVs put in the weight room, in the locker room as well. And that was done back in 2012, 2013. So yes, there have been those sorts of things that have been done. Again, when it comes down to budget wise, I'm not sure about that because I haven't had the time to look and see what the budget is and what it has been enough to say, well, there's a big influx in this or a decrease in this or whatever. But I do know that when the state cuts the programs for the university, it's not just the football team that gets cut. The entire athletic department gets cut. The football gets a bigger cut because it's a bigger program. So yes, the volleyball team, the soccer team, the track teams, they get cut as well along with the football, because if they say they have to cut the budget by so much, it affects everybody on campus, not just the football team.
And I hear you, Ray, and just a quick interjection, because we had two money games. We had the money game against Southern Miss and a money game against University of Houston, which
Correct.
I think should have brought in like $600,000-$700,000 each game. If I don't know the exact numbers.
That's not correct.
So can you correct me on that, please?
Yeah, let me look it up. But it wasn't that much a piece. I have it on my phone. It may take me a while to get it, but if anybody else has some information that they want to, I see Tanya came on. Tanya, do you want to comment on our first question, which was, what are your comments and thoughts about Coach Files being removed? Turn your mic on, sweetheart.
I just think that I think it was a necessary move. A lot of people seem to disagree, but it's almost like after the spring, one of the biggest thing was, oh, well, we don't have an offensive coordinator. So if saying that not having an offensive coordinator was the problem, and you went in and you hired an offensive coordinator, this offensive philosophy and genius that this man was supposed to have, nobody saw it. So, well, I can speak for myself. I didn't see it. I didn't see anything that you did different. I watched you change out 3 quarterbacks in one game. I watched you put a kid in the game that had no snaps in PV game. They had no prior snaps at all and expected him to go in and perform during the game. So at some point, I'm still looking for what did he bring offensively? When we were in the search for an offensive coordinator, you didn't choose the right person. And I do believe, and this is just a personal opinion, I do believe that you chose people who you felt like your job was not going to be on the line for. So, I don't know if he's intimidated by having an offensive coordinator, but a good head coach surrounds himself with the best people. And so I just feel like even with that selection, he did not choose the best person, and that being the offensive coordinator. And so here we are. People can say whatever they want, but we did not perform. I didn't even see an inch, of any type of improvement from the spring.
Okay.
Other than the fact that we won one game, and then one of the games we won was with a true freshman. And so, here we are.
Okay, then. James, and thank you for that. And James, to answer your question, Southern Mississippi, we got $300,000 for that game. University of Houston, we got $400,000. So we got $700,000 total, not each, total for those 2 games. And that's not including, obviously, we had, expenses had to come out of that and things like that. So
now, does that money go directly from those games? Do they go directly into the general athletic fund, or does that go straight to the football team's budget?
It may go into both, because the thing is, the university has to function before we have a football team. If the university is floundering, the money has to go to what the lifeblood is, which is the university first. So yeah,
And
I'm pretty sure over the period of time, yes, money has gone to the general fund if there was a need in order to make things float for the university. Absolutely.
it's just like when the band does stuff, it doesn't go into the general fund of the university. It goes straight into the band funds and so forth. So I'm just trying to see just if they both, like when they go
I
and
think-
perform somewhere.
I think that the band works on its own entity.
Tanya, hold
Yes.
on. Let me finish. Go ahead, James.
No, I just, me, I marched for 5 years from 92 to 96 and everything. And that all the extra performances we did and so forth, or the classic games and everything that the band, other than taking care of hotel, food and everything, we get extra money on top of it. And so those monies went directly into the band fund. I mean, the band account, more so than going to the general, university account and everything. So I thought the football team operated the same kind of way, that they get whatever we said, 300,000, 400,000 from Houston or Southern Miss and everything that goes into the running for the football team. I did not know it went to the general athletic fund, because I know football funds basically all the rest of athletics. So yeah, that's all I have to
Okay.
say about that.
Well, to answer your to clarify something, I'm not going to say that at some point what you're saying is not 100% true. But having a mother that was the vice president of student affairs that handled the band and the football team and all that, she was one of the ones that started the band honorarium, because before the band, the budget, the university gave the band the budget. The budget comes from the university. It doesn't come from whatever, it comes from the university. So whenever the band travels, that money comes from the university and is given to the band in order for them to go out and function and do whatever they do, which would be pay employees, scholarships, repairs on uniforms and instruments and travel and things like that. So, there may be now, but she was the one that implemented the band honorarium, where they got extra money on top of what they were getting. The university was giving them to travel, and that money came from the promoter. So if we went to the Vanport Classic, the band got $50,000 that was just for the band, because a lot of times in these contracts, the contracts state that the band has to perform for the Classic. So that means the band is part of the deal, but they don't get any separate, they were not getting any separate money. They were like, okay, this is a package deal. So use the band, the football team, the cheerleaders or pieces and things like that. It's all grouped into one. And we're paying you with this one check. All that money doesn't necessarily go to each of those individual groups. They're given to the general fund, and then which is put back into the budget for the next time there's a budget for each of those programs. So, that's, again, I'm not saying that's what you're saying is not true, because it probably is. But knowing, what I know, that's another thing that had been done. And I don't know if that's still being done. Okay.
Now, hey, Ray,
Okay, who are we talking to now?
this is Ed Crane.
Okay, go ahead, Ed.
Now, to my understanding, like that $300,000 we got for Southern Mississippi,
Yeah.
I was told when the band go, that some of that money is taken for the band to travel to Southern Mississippi when they want the band to go. That's what I was told, right? If they want, like I said, we want to go to the University of Houston, they gave us $300,000, $400,000. Some of that money is taken for the band to show up as well.
Well, I wouldn't, like I said, I don't disagree.
I'm
with that,
not
but
saying the truth, but that's what I was told.
But I'm saying, having looked at the contracts, I did not see where, obviously, when they gave that money, they gave that money to the university. And then if they say, okay, if the band has to go, then that money has to go to allocate to the band. But the band has, the band is allocated trips that they take. They may not, every game that the football team plays, the band is not going to go to, because that means that's more money that had to be allocated for the band to travel. So I know at one time they were looking, coaches, of course they want the band there. I'm sure the football players and teams want the band wherever they go, because in most cases, the band will be probably the only group of people that's there supporting them, other than maybe a small amount of people that are able to come to the games that are, in these outlying areas that are not really heavy with Grambling alums, or people that will be what I call fly-by-nighters that would, that are not affiliated with the university that may want to attend the game. So yeah.
Ray, Ray, we're having this conversation, and it's so far away from any solution we can discuss here tonight, because what you're talking about is what also has plagued all of our athletic programs, which is athletic administration. Somebody alluded to it earlier about the AD and all that kind of stuff. So all the stuff we're talking about right now, we will have no kind of input in whatsoever. It's all done with the administration and with the athletic administration. The thing I see most important about all of this is that it's really the business aspect of our total athletic program that has been in complete shambles. And we tend to forget that our athletic program is nothing more than entertainment. And so, and in thinking about that, the thing we need to be concerned about is what's first the student athlete experience. What's the fan base experience? We don't take those kind of things in consideration when we're asking fans, number one, to give money for various programs. There should always be some kind of quid pro quo. When we ask people to pay for XYZ, they should also have a good experience for the money in which they're given as well. The other thing that goes back into that is, we're here talking about all these things and money, and the biggest part is recruitment. And we tend to think recruitment is just going out looking for players to come to Grambling to play. Recruitment is purely and absolutely a sales job. And so you have to think about, what are you selling to those student athletes that you're trying to bring to Grambling? Number one, naturally, the first thing you're going to think about is the program which they come to be a part of on the athletic side. But while they're there, they're not just going to play whatever sport they're coming to play. They also have to live in that environment where they are. So you got to sell the school and their experience there at school and their academics as well. So there's a much larger picture we're talking about here when we're talking about just a coach, football program. But in totality, when you think about the whole thing, it comes back to the quality of administration, first beginning at the very top, and then drilling down to those particular departments in the athletic department, what kind of administration we have there, and what kind of experience are they providing for fans, student athletes, and even the community as a whole. So.
Yeah, Mike, I don't think any of us are under the illusion that this is a one-pronged situation, that we have to make sure that, and I think I may alluded to this on maybe call number 2 that we did, that if all functions of Grambling need to be operating at optimal levels in order for Grambling to be great. And so if one of them, one or two or more not, then we're not going to be great.
Yeah, what I'm talking about there, Ray, is, the question was brought up early in this discussion about Coach Fobbs having all the tools. The truth of the matter is, if we go deeper, Coach Fobbs himself is a tool. And so not with this present administration, he was used as a tool to move something out that was, and I have to be careful with this, to move something aside that was for the university that didn't look good at that particular time, but as a whole was working well for the university. So, and everything comes full circle at some point in time. I think that's where we are right
now. Okay, well, I'm sure we'll probably have this conversation, later, but, to me, it's still.
I'm parsing my words.
Yeah, I understand. But I still think it ultimately comes down to the product that's on the field. Now, what leads to that product on the field? Yeah, I mean, there's things that happen. I'm trying to get to, are there any other questions that you guys have about anything, Grambling related? And I know, don't get me wrong, Right now we're talking about football. I do know that it's bigger than football. I know there are a lot of other glaring issues from academics to other things that go on at Grambling, and I'm not trying to make light of those in any stretch of the imagination. But right now, on this particular conversation, this is part 4 of a series that we're talking about athletics, and we do know that administration comes in some aspects and in some in the majority way as to how things happen in athletics. So I'm not trying to dismiss that or make light of that situation in any stretch of the imagination, even by the things that I say. So I hope that that's not come across as something I'm trying to be dismissive of the role of the administration of the university and the administration of the athletic department.
Great.
Hey, Ray,
Great. To go
man.
back to your initial question about what we meant by having the right tools to put together a good program, right?
Okay.
Let's go back to, I hear you talking about athletic facilities and everything. Yes, already did do some makeup type stuff with drinks and everything, but did we have the right strength and conditioning coach? And strength and conditioning coach don't just serve just a football program, because typically they serve the entire athletic department.
I agree.
When you look at some of the games that we played, some of the opponents that we had, those guys was way bigger than our guys. They looked more fit. They looked like they were prepared to be a D1 player. We still had guys looking like they was in high school. So did we have the right person to do strength and conditioning? Because you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have the physical ability and the strength, you can't perform.
That's the coach's responsibility too. That's
and don't get me wrong. There's obviously some finances in there, whatever. But the coach hired that person. The coach is just, the coach. Sometimes, again, when the point that you're saying about that person, but actually that person should be hired by the athletic director, because if he's serving all of the sports on campus, now if he was strictly the football strength and conditioning coach, that'd be different.
And someone said that earlier about not having the right AD. There you go again.
Yeah. Well,
let me tell you, Ray, let me tell you that in football, though, the strength and conditioning coach for football are usually hired separate, because it is a much more physical and takes much more endurance. So if you're going to hire a strength and conditioning coach for overall, their primary usually is going to be football.
Yes.
No doubt. I understand that, but that the person who makes that hire, I mean, I'm sure that I don't know. I don't know how that's done, because
I'm telling you how it's done. That a strength and conditioning coach, football usually at the programs that are successful have an exclusive strength in it, because it's different.
Yeah.
And that's usually the way it worked for a successful program.
Yeah,
Football.
but what I was saying, I don't know how it's done. I don't know who did the hiring here. I don't know if it was the athletic director that hired the strength and conditioning coach for all of athletics, or was it we hired the one for football and the football person going to do it for everybody. I don't know. I don't know here at Grambling how that was done. So I can't call to give you any.
And I do agree with you about the players obviously did not utilize their program or what they did.
Right. And to go back to what Bruce said, if he's a football strength and conditioning coach and they weren't up to par, it comes back on the strength and conditioning coach and the person who hired them and things like that. So yeah, that would be the case for that. I'm trying to think of some of the other things that I had heard. I had heard something about the director of football operations and something that went on in Florida with the hotel accommodations. My question is, who hired the director of football operations, and was that person in place when all that went down? Therein lies your question. Is it the university's responsibility in lieu of a director of football operations to have a person that handles that travel when football was handling their own travel prior to that time? Don't know. So those are good questions to ask. And but I do know.
Ray, again, you're closer to, and I can tell you this for sure. Anything related to football, any and all things related to football, Coach Favre had carte blanche to make those decisions. So anybody related to football, Coach Favre made those calls. I can't say that emphatically.
Okay.
And get that to be true. He made those calls.
Yeah, I do know that he was responsible for hiring the director of football operations because obviously there was a tweet where he was asking for people to send resumes to him. So I mean, yeah, that was clear. But I'd like to hear some other comments about Ty. You have something you want to say? Are you done? Okay.
Hi, this is Rogers. I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
The last comment you said the conversation was focusing once again on the play, the football play. And my question is similar to the attrition question. Over the last, I'm gonna say 3, maybe 4 years, I have quote unquote not seen Grambling make a big splash in the recruiting world with incoming high school recruits. And I know Coach Favre has, well, from what I've heard, he said that he's building, or he wanted to build this program off of those recruits. I say that in conjunction with also looking at what else is happening in the SWAC, specifically in Jackson, with Dion bringing 5 and 4 stars in, and also 3 stars. The level of play has to be increased. If there are any insights on any outstanding recruits who will help to elevate the program over the next couple of years.
Can I interject? And Ray, let me help. Let me just say something towards what Roger said.
Okay.
We using Jackson State as our measuring stick right now. That's not even fair to nobody in the SWAC right now. Because
I know that. And I'm gonna say this.
Hold on, Rogers. They're going as
okay, go ahead.
So they're going to transfer because Deion Sanders is there. They're not worried about nothing else but Deion Sanders. So I agree, recruit the 3, 4, 5-star players, but to say that they're all going to Jackson, he don't have to recruit them. He don't. They're calling him right now.
And and what I'm saying is, I'm not saying everybody's going there, but I'm saying on a residual side, even in a company or in the military, if your competition is increasing, you have to increase to stay abreast with what's going on with that competition.
Don't disagree with that. And if you remember what I said in my initial statement, you're going
to
refresh a big hiring splash right now to compete with Jackson State and recruit. Bottom line.
Well, I wanted to, if I can say something, because I think the firing of Favre's, I guess we all took it personal because he's one of our own. Are we at that point where we don't need to hire coaches that went to Grambling or from Grambling, because it's a business now? We need to get somebody in there who can do the job that we're wanting. Regardless of where you went to school, we need someone to do the job.
I think at the end of the day, Miss Sherry, is that it doesn't matter. You know, we say we want to hire those that would invest in interest, and of course we look at our own. But at the end of the day, what's the end result?
Right, and back to the Dion thing, I actually I've never gone to the Jackson Alcorn game or any Jackson State game outside of them coming to Grambling. But I went to that game yesterday, and it was packed. The energy was there, and
but Miss Sherry,
Dion, it's outside of,
Miss Sherry, you do know that Jackson State had losing seasons prior to Deion Sanders coming, and they stadium would still be packed.
Yeah, that's true.
Like even in their losing season, those people still showed up. So, and that was some of the things that, that one thing I can say about Jackson State, regardless of, they were still showing up.
Yeah,
we don't support our people regardless of who it is.
Yeah, the Jackson's Alcorn game is a big game because it's an in-state rival and it's huge. So I've been to a couple of them myself, and I've seen crowds as big as, seemed as big as the one that I saw pictures of on Saturday. Because that game is huge. And if both teams are winning like this time, there was a lot on the line. And so, yeah, that was, it was extra big, but that game is big. But if you go to another game other than homecoming, their crowds are still gonna be bigger than most, but they're not gonna be anywhere close to 50, 40,000. They may be like in the high 20s, but they're located in the capital of the state. So there's a lot of alums that are local. And so, yeah, I mean, they come win or lose. And that's the good thing
it
about
wasn't a
leading
Bayou Classic for sure. It's not on the level of Bayou Classic, but just you could tell there was an energy there because of the coach. You definitely could feel it.
Yeah, and so I've seen pictures of that game when they can barely fill the stands. They were like 2-9. They had, I think James Bell was the coach, and I think they fired Bell before that game, before the Capital City Classic, if they would call it, or Soul Bowl. And it was you couldn't throw a rock and hit anybody in that stadium because.
Hey, I just want to interject on the attendance thing where I think, we relate back to Grambling in attendance. When I was there, when I was in school from 92 to 98, the students did not have to pay to get into the game. Students, you just show your ID, you get in. Now, I think, and Ray, correct me if I'm wrong, that students have to pay what, between $10 and $20 to get into the game?
No,
That's not true.
They do not.
They don't have to pay.
They do not.
No.
Their pay is already included in their tuition. They do not have to pay.
Was there a time where they did have to?
Huh?
Was there a time where they did have to?
I've never known students have to pay to get into a regular season game at Grambling State University.
Okay, because
When we were
I
there,
think he's referencing when they say student tickets. So like students can purchase tickets, but they could purchase them at student prices. But for that individual student, they didn't have to pay to get in. But they could get student ticket prices
and give to family and friends and things like that.
Right.
Okay. All right. I thank you for correcting me on that, because I thought it was a time where that the students, because yes, it's supposed to be coming out of your tuition and everything, that a student can just show their ID and get into the game free. I thought it was a time where they show their ID and still have to pay $10 to get in the stadium or something like that.
I've never known that to happen. I've never known that to be the case. But again, I'm not saying that I know it all, but I don't recall it ever being a situation when that happened. So I mean, I'll do some more investigating to see what comes up.
Okay.
Any other questions? Any other statements about things related to Grambling football? Because I'm like I consider myself a historian. I like to make sure that everything is along the line. I know that. Let me tell you some of the stories some of the concerns that I have. People were saying, well, we fired a coach. They were saying that the spring season didn't count, and he only had one losing season. And I said, okay, well, the spring season did count because they played the games and they named the champion. So it did count. So, but to discount that and discredit the fact that to say that they didn't, if we would have won 4 games or 3 games in the spring, would it have counted? If we would have been playing in the championship game in 2000 in the spring of 2021, would it have counted? If we'd have won the championship in spring, would it have counted then? So it seems that it didn't count when it didn't come in our favor, and that's wrong. You shouldn't do that. Those kids went out and played. We went to the games. Some of us traveled to all 4 games. Some of us traveled to 2 games. Some traveled to 1 game. We traveled to those games, spent our money on those games. Those games counted. The NCAAs recognize them as games. The games counted. Okay. He should have had time to turn things around. I think I said this in my last in show number 3. I didn't feel that the administration was going to give the coach and the staff time to do something in 2022. I said it. I sent the information to most of you guys. I just didn't think it was going to happen. That was my opinion. and it came out that that wasn't the case. So yes, Marty, the offensive coordinator, only had the the fall to kind of get it together. That's unfortunate. And it's but I look at it this way: out of 12 teams in the conference, we were number 12 in offense. That doesn't look good for you. I mean, we can say he didn't have time, but there was no 12 out of 12. That's bad, man. That's bad all across the board. And I never had the opportunity to meet Marty. Sure, he's a cool guy, but the fact is, it's production, and we weren't getting the production. And it wasn't just him. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't just the offense. It wasn't just the offense. So, and I don't want any, in my opinion, I don't think there's, I don't want to put all the blame on the offense, because offense was bad, but the defense was not great either. And obviously they were, they were better than the offense to help us get us out of situations and help give us situations to where we could put us in a position to score, score points and things like that. So I think another question was, somebody said Noah Biden did redshirt, so that's why he was not playing anymore. So if anybody had any questions about that, he was not playing anymore because it was decided he was going to redshirt, or they were going to redshirt him. So that's why he's no longer playing playing in football games for us. He played the 4 games that he was allotted to play per NCAA. Go ahead, Tanya.
Did they dispel? Did anybody talk about or dispel this rumor about the firing of Coach Fobbs being done without the consent or without the approval of the UL system, and that they had to get permission before the president could do any of that? So they're saying that it was not done that way, and supposedly it was breached, and he was fired. He wasn't fired properly, is what I was told, is what I've been hearing.
Categorically not true.
Well,
Categorically not.
what you said initially, where the UL system had to be notified, that's 100% true. I'm not saying it wasn't done, but that part, from a contractual standpoint, that's what's in the contract. Whether they gave him the 30-day notice, which is in the contract, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case or not. But
I'm telling you, it is true. It was correct. He was fired properly.
He was fired properly? Okay.
Categorically so, yes. Okay. Absolutely. And I
yes,
say that.
I did that. The contract was available, and it stated in there that the president could fire the coach for cause or not. But if it was for cause, if it was not for cause, they'd have to run it. It'd have to go through the ULS board in order to get the approval to do that. That's what the contract says. So, and I think it was a 30-day, if it wasn't for cause, it was some sort of 30-day stipulation or something like that, to let them know that this was going to be something that was going to happen. So I've even heard, that somebody told me, inbox me again, and I don't like to, no, I'm not even say, because I don't like to even say stuff like that.
So then it became his, was it his decision not to coach this last game?
I don't know.
Okay.
I do not know that. And that was about what I was going to say, that I had heard something similar to what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know that to be true. I don't know that to be true at all.
Thank you.
And I just want people to know that, I know there's much been said about my situation with Coach Fobbs, and that I hate him and all this stuff, and I've been trying to get him fired. I don't have that power. I don't have the power to get somebody. I'm like anybody else that was not happy with how the season was going, and I voiced my displeasure. That's what I did. And if by coming up with things that are factual, it kind of rubs some people the wrong way, I can't speak to that. But I do know that I've never, I don't have to try to get people fired. Their job performance, will take care of anything like that. So Coach Fobbs is a Grambling person, and just like every Grambling person and basically every head coach that have been here at Grambling, they've gone on to do other things. And I don't expect anything different from Coach Fobbs. I'm pretty sure he'll get a job, if somewhere. I have no doubt that he will. I have no doubt that he will. So, I'm sure he can take care of that and do the things that is necessary in order to obtain the job. I'm pretty sure he can do that. He's more than capable of doing that. So I look forward to hearing, where he lands, and hope he's successful wherever he goes. So who all's going to the everybody going to the Classic?
I can't stomach it, Ray.
Huh?
I would definitely be there, row 17 on the 50
Yeah,
every year.
Everybody going to the Classic? Okay, all right.
No, for the simple fact, I live in Washington.
Wait. Be careful. Be careful what you say. Be careful what you say now, because I know what you're about to say. And we had this discussion before you came on here about you not going to the game.
Okay, yes. I'm going to tell it to the people. I'm going to tell it.
Okay, go right ahead.
Yeah. The reason why I'm not going, because I told you, I spent all my football money on the Washington Redskins, not the Washington football team. I still call them the Washington Redskins. I'm going to Dallas for that game, and I paid my ticket for the game up here. No, I can watch Grambling lose on television.
Stop saying
I'm not
that.
going to spend that money. I'm not going to spend $200 something on the plane.
James,
But here's
James, you know what? This whole thing about I'm gonna watch Grambling lose. Right now, it's tit for tat right now with Southern, and I want to bet my bottom dollar on my team. So you can get off this line.
And the other thing is,
I'm a realist.
Okay.
I'm a realist. The way that we've been looking, we lost the Purview, we lost the Bethune-Cookman and all that. I'm like, I just don't have faith.
Have you seen
Southern?
Southern?
I got love, but I don't have faith.
Let me put it into this real quick. Let me put it into this real quick. Apparently, you have more faith in the Washington football team than you have Grambling State University.
Oh, see, here we go.
That's the problem. See, that right there is the problem. So you're putting all your thing in the Washington football team, but hey, this is not about the Washington football team. It's about Grambling State University. So we're moving on from that.
You just wanted to bring that up, right?
Hey, we're moving on from that.
Okay.
We're moving on from that. We need you
move on,
and everybody else to get when it comes time for the season tickets to come out. We need people to get season tickets. We need the administration to do what they're supposed to do as far as letting the people know. The schedule is, I think we're like one game shy of having the schedule complete. So it shouldn't take a long time in order to get that done. And to give you guys some information about the season tickets. The season tickets has dropped off since the last information I had. I have 2012, 2016, 2019, and 2021. In 2016, I think that was Fobbs' second year, the season tickets were 809. Awesome. It was up from a lot from the 2012 season. In 2019, it was 1,003. That's good, but it's still not what, it's an improvement, but we should be able to have more season ticket holders than that. Now, keep in mind, this is just the season ticket holders. This is not the amount of tickets that they have per holder. So it could be 2, 3, 4, 5, but I'm just talking about the season ticket holders' names themselves. And then this year, 2021, the season ticket holders, 724. That's a significant drop off. So it could be attributed to a couple of things, but we need to bring that number back up, and we need to be looking into, gaining, 400 or 500, a season to get back up. We need to be around, honestly, we should be at least around 6,000 season ticket holders, to be honest with you.
Did COVID affect those numbers? Because I do
course,
know
absolutely.
Ticket holder.
Of course, that's absolutely a valid point. But again, this is 2021. I don't know what happened in between, obviously COVID happened, but I'm saying for 2019, we didn't have any season ticket holders in 2020. So that eliminated that. So 2021, it was, most of the people had their money carried over from the 2020 season. So something else happened in between there. I don't know if it was lack of communication, apathy. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, we need to get turned around, and we need to have more season ticket holders anyway. We need season ticket holders. That's something that I've been preaching for a very long time. Season ticket holders, even though we know some people don't go to the games and can only make one of the games, we still need you. That's a donation to the university. That helps with recruiting, that helps with facilities, that helps with travel, that helps with uniforms. All those things that we talked about, we needed more for the university, for the program. Those sorts of things help the program. James?
Well, I've been a season ticket holder. The hindrance for me, it's not progressive. Like, it's not electronic. You have to do old school mail, check, or call, give your credit card number. They need to move to 2021. I should be able to click on the computer, pick my seat, and buy my season ticket.
Well, actually, we've been able to do that for about 3 years through Ticketmaster. That's actually something that's been
That's different though, Ray.
Yeah,
That's another fee though. I mean, the university we should be a little bit more advanced than what we are. We're way behind, and there's no excuse for what we are. Absolutely none.
Yeah.
Now, this year for season ticket holders, now I was able to go to Ticketmaster and get my season tickets without no fee this year.
I don't know about that. I just know.
I'm just telling you what I was able to do this year.
But, well, if they're not charging you, they're charging the university. So
no, they're not charging the university. It was free. They was able to do it this year. I've talked to the lady over Ticketmaster. I mean, over the ticket office. I'm there. I talked to her.
I'm not gonna argue with you on that.
When I go to every home game, I'm there.
Well, I'll tell you what. They may not have charged some people, but they charged me.
Yeah,
I know they charge me.
Ticketmaster ain't free.
They charge me a fee. I know that they charge me a fee. But anyway,
hey, Ray, hey, quick question to you is that how has the PR department, the public relations, and so much done to advertise the games? Because I mean, advertise the selling of the games. Because other, KGRM, is whatever, but I've never seen a collective effort to sell games, each individual games, like Bethune-Cookman, like, hey, Bethune-Cookman, the first 1,000 kids under 17, or 16 can get into the game free, just to get butts in the stands or whatever, this and that. It's that they don't advertise, commercially, in Shreveport and Alexandria and Monroe, they don't advertise that the game is going on. I think they still have the old school mentality, like, oh, we're Grambling. The schedule, you see it and everything, so you should just automatically come. I think they still have a mentality that they think, oh, because it's Grambling and we're at home, then you know where to come, and when the game is coming, so just come. They don't spend, I don't think, a lot of money into promoting coming to.
I agree, and even so much as to reach out, to make sure that they reach out to the people who used to be season ticket holders that are not current season ticket holders. I don't know if they're reaching out to even try to get them back into the fold, and along the lines of the things that you said, as far as making sure, doing the necessary things, whether it be, Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, radio advertising. I don't think, those sorts of things. Yes, I think they should. The university should do more. Absolutely, I agree with you.
I think you hit it on the head with the PR team. We do not. I am a Louisiana Tech alum as well, and I can't tell you the stuff that I constantly get in the mail. I give just because they keep sending me stuff. But I do believe that we're not utilizing, and we can definitely leverage and utilize. I miss Lonnie B. Smith. Like I miss him. I miss him at Grambling. He was a gem, because he would have definitely leveraged those students in those departments like marketing and things like that to help push what we need to push to advertise. So yeah, PR is definitely a miss, and I think it's not just with athletics, but as the university as a whole. So James, you hit one on the head.
Yeah, and here's another thing too. The TV Center, and Ray will tell you, I was the man at the TV Center from when I was there for 92 and 96. rest in peace, Jay's Penny, that we have all the technology and everything, and they are showing the games online, but the level that they're doing it is trash. That they're charging $6 to $8 to watch it. That one access to a day pass basically to watch the game, and I have no problems in paying that. You know, because back in the days there was no way to do it. I mean, we could use the satellite that we had uplink. We had that, and we could transmit that way. But we do have the technology now to show it, and they do show it. But the professionalism and the shooting of it is terrible. It's hard to like physically watch because you know, and Ray, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because I mean, I'm glad that they do have the access that if it's now ESPN Plus or something like that, that a couple of home games were available via, you know, that you can watch it online. But the production quality is so terrible.
Well, here's my suggestion on that, and this is with everything. And you know, I've for a long time, and I hate to use myself as an example, but I've been constantly fighting the fight with, you know, administration, athletic administration about things behind the scenes to try to get, you know, to try to get things straight or whatever.
No doubt, Ray.
But the thing is, but I think what needs to happen is that it needs to be more than just one person. It needs to be collective. If you see something you don't particularly care for, just send them a note. If you don't get a response, send them another note. If you get a response, take it above their head. That's how you do it any other way. You know, just let them know. Listen, hey man, you know, the quality, I can't hear the, you know, the sound on the camera's not doing well. The clarity needs to, you know, you need white balance on camera 2, whatever it may be. You know, we got to let people know who can make those changes. I agree talking about it now because now we see other people may have that same concern, but I think we need to channel that information to the people who can make the changes happen. And those people, you know, whether it be Alan over the TV center, if Alan's not responding to you, who's over his department? If that person's not responding to you, give it to the athletic director and go up the channel until it gets fixed.
Ray.
Because I understand that you have to do those sorts of things. James, please don't, please. Make sure that you do those sort of things, because if you don't, it's not going to change. It will remain the same.
Hey,
So,
Ray, back on football. Let me just
hold one second, Bruce. Go ahead, James. Say what you're going to say, and then we're going to go to Bruce.
Okay, Ray, you know we've been fighting this battle for over 20-something years with different people. You know, we
Right,
gone up and down that road.
But again, James,
trying to contact the proper people. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it from people like me. You see this image behind me? I know what I'm doing.
But the only
they don't want to hear it.
Right. The only recourse to that is, James, is if you don't contact them, you know for sure that they're not going to do anything. So you have to keep trying. And again, the numbers count. If it maybe you, but if there's 100 people, if there's 50 people, 25 people saying the same thing, I'm pretty sure they're going to do something. But if it's just 1 or 2 people, it's like, well, you know, ain't that many people watching anyway, who cares? But if there's more people putting into it, then yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're going to do that's customer service. And we may not be great at it, but I'm sure that we don't want that fire on us, especially if it's coming from a collective amount of people that are interested in the product that you're trying to get people to pay for. So, okay, Bruce, go ahead.
I got a question. In the last week, have you heard any potential candidates for the job?
Nothing other than what people are saying. I mean, obviously nothing's coming from the university that I know of, but I don't think that, you know, the stuff that I've seen in like the News Star, I don't really have any credibility to stuff like that.
What is that, Ray? Because I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard it either.
Well, they had let me look and see. They had a couple of names that they.
I did hear one person.
It may not have been a News Star. It may have been.
It was a News Star, right? Right. It was a News Star.
It was a News Star?
Yeah, right. It was. It was
Marshall Falk. Was Marshall Falk one of those names?
Yes, it was. His name was in there for the News Star. Marshall Falk.
It was?
Ed Reed.
Go ahead and name the names then.
It was Eric Dooley, Ed Reed, Marshall Falk. They mentioned Ray Lewis, and they mentioned Doug Williams. Those are the names that had in there. That's the names for the new stars.
Oh Lord,
Now,
not Doug again. No,
now
yeah.
HBCU Digest had a totally different list of names.
Right. That's the one I'm talking about. The HBCU Digest is the one that I saw where you had the guy from Valley,
Yeah, a bunch
the
of
guy
crap
from
like
Valley on it.
Bruce
Yeah.
Eugene was mentioned as well. Bruce Eugene.
Yeah, the guy from Valley I think he's doing a good job, but there's no, come on.
There's some talk about the guy from Memphis. I understand the athletic director likes him.
The
One of
guy from Memphis.
Assistant, the offense coordinator from Memphis. I know you hadn't heard that. That's.
I might have. I just might not know his name. I've heard some name.
Scoop, Mike.
Say again?
It's a little inside scoop right there, huh?
A little bit of inside scoop.
But I mean, I've heard some names, and I'll.
And Mr. Murphy, you're not again. That was the dumbest thing ever done, by the way. And you're not again when you heard the name Doug Williams. That was the dumbest thing ever done. That he let him go. So just so you know that, the not again, that clearly means you don't understand athletics if you say not again. So I want to get that into you so you know.
Got that personal one, Mike. I like it.
I mean that's dumb and stupid that he had let go in the first place, and he had Grambling say not again. That's clearly you don't understand athletics, but you hear Ray Lewis and Marshall Falk, and we get excited about that. I think that's losing our confidence when we go after stuff like that.
And that's because of the name recognition, like I was saying earlier, Mike.
Yeah, I
agree with the name recognition, but you know what? Well, you bring people into a situation, you're going to lose your identity in a big sense.
I don't disagree with you.
I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to understand the name recognition stuff, and I'm just trying to understand the hype. I'm trying. Wait, James.
Hold on. One at a time. Go ahead, Tanya.
I'm trying to understand the hype behind the popularity. At the end of the day, Grambling did it first, baby. And I'm just saying, y'all forget. And the only reason I'm speaking so highly of it because I stood on the sideline with the man as a trainer for 4 years. So I'm just saying, at the end of the day, we did it first. And when we talk about name recognition, he is the name. So it is what it is.
Okay, so
I don't disagree with you, Tanya, but
and I see. Go ahead, Bruce.
I don't disagree with you, Tanya, but when you look at these young kids now, the young kids going for TV and they're going for big name.
But it ain't about that. You gotta have some competency behind it.
No,
you gotta have some competency behind it as well.
I agree, right? But I don't think Dion is all the competency. My personal feeling, he's good.
Well, I understand Dion was hired for exactly what Dion is doing.
Exactly.
He came directly from being in prime life media, Jackson State.
Everybody needs to turn off if you're not speaking, you turn on your mic.
I'm sorry. Popularity is great, but you also, name itself by itself just doesn't recruit. And here's the thing I want to tell you about Deion Sanders. What makes him so different? Deion Sanders didn't just come to Jackson State. Deion Sanders brought both of his sons to Jackson State. That's a big difference. A big difference. Okay. So that to me, he's all in. He's not there just because he has the name. He's all in. And that's a big difference.
Yeah. And all right, go ahead, James. James, go ahead.
And I have a question too. About what I had to say about Doug. I met Doug, and what Doug did for the Washington Redskins, loving what he did when he was playing at Grambling, great. And me and Ray had gone back and forth on this. When he up there put DJ as the quarterback and kept him out knowing he was garbage and still kept.
I disagree with you on that too. Have you ever played? Have you ever played, James?
Hold on.
James, have you ever played?
Hold on.
James marched in the band, so he didn't play.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead, James. Continue, James.
I'm going to say this statement. Y'all can go ahead and blast me after that. Once he put DJ on top of starting him, then thinking about the rest of the team, that's when I lost respect and kind of part to Doug, because he's like, it's about my son. Okay. Your son is not, he could not be you. I think he would have himself into his son, and it did work. And
All right. So let me say this, because James, I muted you so nobody can hear you. So let me say this. Who was the quarterback that started for Fobbs when he took over as head coach at Grambling?
Who was the coach?
Who was the
I
quarterback?
mean, who was the quarterback?
Yeah.
Was it
You got me.
Jonathan Williams?
Who was it?
Jonathan Williams?
No. That's not true. Go ahead.
I don't know.
It was
Oh,
DJ. It was DJ.
DJ was still there, right?
Yeah, it was DJ. So
Yeah,
when
DJ.
you're saying that, you have your opinion, I have no problem with you stating your opinion. My thing is, when you're saying that it was only Doug that played and started his son, another coach started him as well. So it couldn't have been all of that, because if he was that bad, why did he start for the other coach?
Okay, I can stand corrected.
Okay.
And
again, I'm not trying to change your opinion. I'm just trying to interject some facts in there that says that you again, if you now you know that it's a little different now that you know that. So I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. I'm just trying to interject some
I have no
actual
problem
facts on that. So
point.
Fobbs quarterback for the first 2 games until he got hurt was DJ. So I'm just saying, if he was that bad, then he, and we know Fobbs was under no obligation to start it.
This is true.
So okay. All right, let's go. Anybody else have anything?
I have a question. I have a comment, Ray, and this goes back to the coaching situation.
Go ahead.
And I wanted to address, it was a young lady and some others who have said, well, first of all, they mentioned, quote, trying to get your own. And I'm giving a perspective from just being a fan. At this particular point, once again, I feel the university, Grambling University, needs to hire a competent, qualified coach. And whether it's a named person, they need somebody to come in to right the ship on their program, as well as bring in the necessary type of players that can compete at the level that I see the SWAC going to, where once again, by some of your counterparts and their level of play that's taking place right now. So as far as a name, recognized coach, if they do bring in a Marshall Falk or Ray Lewis, or who was the other one, the safety from South Louisiana?
Ed Reed.
Ed Reed. Those would be named recognized coaches who could attract recruits to the university. And I think that would be in conjunction with, once again, righting the ship and reestablishing the program, because of course you do have the name recognition itself for Grambling. So that's all I have.
Okay, let me say, I understand where people are coming from when they say that. I don't necessarily agree with that, because I guess I'm from a situation where I like experience. I want somebody that's a proven coach, that's been through the trenches, that's either been a successful offensive coordinator, a successful defensive coordinator, things like that. I don't think that what's going on with Dion is the exception. It's not the rule. Nobody goes out to do it, because it actually could not. It could turn out to be bad. It's happening for them, and I still think it's going to be short-lived, but that's just my opinion. But it's for Jackson, they're 14 years away from their last championship. 14 years. That's a long time without winning a championship in football from a program who is supposed to be the thing. Now, keep in mind, Jackson's budget from the last I saw of it was lower than ours. Okay, understand this. Jackson's budget, the last I saw of it, I can't remember the exact year it was lower than ours. Okay, so they got creative. They built in a lot of incentives, but Fobbs' contract base, his base salary with the help from the foundation makes him the highest base salary coach in the conference. Not Dion, it's Fobbs. Now, with all the extra incentives that Dion has, which are, if you get so many more above 35,000 or something like that, he gets 10% of whatever. and he can end up making a whole lot of money. And then with the winning the conference, winning the West, going to the Celebration Bowl, all those sorts of things are just added on bonuses that he gets that's part of his contract. So, I understand people want to go like that. It's the sexy thing now. It's the, okay, we're gonna go out and do it. Okay, Tennessee State did that. We went out and they got Eddie George. So let's everybody start doing that. You start to price yourself out of the market, out of your school with trying to match these sort of things. I do agree in the sense that some of these players are not necessarily looking for a payday. They're just looking for an opportunity to show what they can do with the hope of moving up and beyond. I get that. I just don't like for us to be in a situation where I feel like Jackson's going to be with. They're going to be looking for a coach, within 2 years. I've said it. He's, one of his sons is a senior. He's not coming back. The other one can transfer any way they want to go with the portal. So if Deion leaves and goes to Jacksonville, his son can go with him. He doesn't have to sit out.
Yes, he
can go with him. Okay, so I just don't want to see us going after this type. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't. I'm just saying I just think that we'll be better fit if we find a solid coach with experience that's a dog in recruiting, that can put together a staff that be dogs recruiting like he is or she is, and can understand the history of where they are and respect the history of where they are and be able to push the needle, use whatever context they have in order to get things for the university and extra stuff. I don't have a problem with adding that as a bonus for a coach. Absolutely, because new money, if it's new money, we never had it before. So why? And I agree with you. Why not be able to give a coach a little something, or athletic director a little something from new money if we have been getting it to begin with? So I'm for a base contract more than I am for a top-heavy base salary, because if he gets those bonuses, that means we're winning. That's if we get, because we just the conference hadn't had a good luck with paying coaches a high amount of money and them being successful. It just historically hadn't really been that good. So any other statements that anybody would like to share? Any questions or anything like that?
Yeah, just one thing, Ray, owns that. Do we have in our athletic director and then our president, do we have the competency there to choose such a coach? Because I believe I agree with you that we don't need a big name just to have a big name and everything. We need a good coach, like you said, that was a good offensive or defensive coordinator that has a proven track record. Bring someone like that in, and so much than trying to make a splash and trying to get a coaching. But do we have an evaluator of talent that can select the proper new head coach from the athletic director and our president?
Well, I don't know, because I don't really know much about the athletic director, so I cannot speak to him specifically, because I've actually never met him. So I don't even know anything other than what was in his bio. And I wasn't, obviously I'm not really impressed with that at all. But I'm hoping that whatever he does and whatever they do is for the best interest of the university. That's all I can hope for at this point. I don't know enough about him to say, well, he's proven that he can't do anything. I don't know. He hasn't been here long enough, but I do know this: he's going to choose. If he remains here for the duration of his contract, he could very well end up choosing and replacing every coach that's on our staff. Not saying it doesn't need to be done, but that's a reality, because he's already going to replace the baseball coach. We know he's going to replace the football coach. Okay, the basketball coaches, I think, they may have another year on their contracts as far as contractually, but again, if they're not winning, he might decide.
Was the baseball coach, did he leave on his own? The way it looked like he left on his own, he could go to the Yankees or something like that.
Yeah, but he's going to have to be replaced. There's an interim in place because there's too short of a time in order to bring in somebody, so they're letting the assistant coach take over as interim. But that's going to be he's going to have to be, the process is going to have to happen.
That they seek out.
Once it gets to that point, it's going to have to happen. So,
Okay. All right.
turn on your mic, Mike.
Yeah, you muted me when I was going after James. So I just want to know.
Yes, I
I
did.
want to know what James is.
Yes, I
drinking.
did. Yes, I did do that.
Yeah, I know that. I can understand. That's what your job is. But the point is that whether the AD is competent or not, which at this point in time the jury's out on that. If he isn't, he's not to blame for that. We've got to hold those accountable who hired people, fill those roles. So, and like Ray said, I mean, he's going to make a tremendous impact on our athletic program. And the person who hired him is a person who needs to be accountable, who needs to be accountable for his hire.
Right. And I did send an invitation to the athletic director for this particular call. So I wanted to make that clear. I did send him an invitation to be a part of this Zoom meeting. So.
And he refused to join in, or what?
Well, he didn't respond back. I just sent him an email to his email address, and that's it. I've never met him before, so
So you haven't met him? You haven't met him, right?
No.
Interesting.
No, I have not. I've been in the same room with him, but I haven't met him.
Interesting.
I haven't been introduced, nor has and if I'm in that position personally, there's not a person in the room that I'm not gonna speak to.
I agree with you.
That's just me. But again, on the same note, I'm just, I could have done the same thing, but I'm not the athletic director. I'm just a season ticket holder. That's all I'm a simple season ticket holder. That's all I am. So, but I do want to know, I do want to let people know that there are, I think that we need to continue to, or start to, if you already, if you haven't, but continue to, if you already have been, contacting the people whose responsibility is to do these things. If the trash needs to be picked up, call the facilities person. If the facilities person doesn't get with you, call the president, email the president, email everybody until somebody responds to it. Same things with season tickets. Let me say this before. I did get an email from the ticket office. She did say that there was this new system that they were going to be putting in place. So I don't know exactly what the extent of it is. It's beyond Ticketmaster. So that may be something, maybe the answer to our questions that we've been having about electronically being able to pay for our tickets in advance and without all those darn fees. And I hate those fees. So, but it's when they roll it out, I'm hoping that when they roll it out, they'll let everybody know, and we'll be able to capitalize on that. And I'm hoping by the time they announce the new football coach that they will have the schedule done, and then that will be a great way to jumpstart the season ticket holders campaign by announcing the football coach and having the season tickets available on the same day. I'm hoping we get another game at home. That'll definitely help. And I'm sure that if we want to do the coach a solid, we need to have them a home game early in the season where the team can, we can get a good program and get us a good win in and things like that. Y'all know what I'm saying. So this hopefully we can we can get another home game, because we haven't had 4 home games in a very long time. Very long time.
Hey, Ray. Hey,
go ahead, Ed.
Now, to my understanding, don't quote me on this. I was told we are going to have 4 home games.
Right.
That's what I was told.
Right.
Also, for my information, how can I put this? Grambling finna update Robinson Stadium more. From my information, Ray.
Yeah, I've heard the.
I have seen some plans.
Yeah,
the plans look good.
Yeah,
they really look good. What they want to do.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, so like, let's see if they're gonna do it, because I asked them more questions.
I've seen. I was privy to some information where they were gonna extend the railings down down from the top for people. They were talking about putting some lower level concessions / bathrooms down on the lower areas and things like that. I've seen, I've heard about the expansion of the press box either outward or upward. I've heard about that. I've heard about them sending, having the runners, the concession runners, where they would go down the stands, and like we used to do over at Robinson at Memorial Stadium, and go down into the crowd and buy food and sell food and things like that. I've heard that. And now if it's any more than that, then I definitely love to hear about it.
It's more than that, right?
Great, awesome.
It's more
That is
than
awesome.
To my understanding, from what I've seen, I'm not saying it, I'm just hoping to get done. But
Yeah.
we do supposed to have an indoor practice facility.
But now
Oh,
you can't
yeah,
get on
yeah.
here with us talking about your understanding. You can't do that, man. We shouldn't be able to-
See, I
Talking about my understanding. You gonna take that with you? Talk.
yeah, see,
Talk.
well, the plans are being finalized now.
Okay.
What
Well,
plans? What plans? Oh, he shut us up.
unmute yourself. Unmute yourself.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
You hear me now? Yeah.
Yeah.
The plans are being finalized to improve the home side with the press box, and with the like Ray said about the concession stands in the lower level, and also the meeting rooms, new locker rooms, indoor practice facility. All this coming in the finalized. Now, right now, what I've seen, we have the money to do it. Now, like you said, Ray, it's when they're gonna start. You catch me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when they're gonna start. And I'm pushing it right now. When? Let's get on it now. That's my perspective, right?
Yeah, I've seen when we had Troy Matthew was the AD. I remember that was one of the things that he said. And he even rolled out. I think I still have it somewhere about the indoor facility. That's cool. That's great to have. No doubt about it. But okay.
I want the locker rooms, Ray. I want the locker rooms, the meeting rooms for our football teams. That's
Well,
what I
I
want.
mean, but we already had that though, Ed. We
But
had those. They just stopped utilizing them. They stopped utilizing.
We don't have updated locker room. That locker room is awesome.
No. I'm not talking about the locker room. I'm talking about the meeting rooms. The meeting rooms were there from the very beginning. We just stopped utilizing them and started using them for something other than meeting rooms.
Right. Then the new meeting room will look even better than what we have.
Okay, that's great.
And
Way
I
better
don't
than
care
we
if you're meeting. I don't care if you're meeting in a Taj Mahal. You still got a block and tackle.
Well, I agree with you there, Mike. But
Yeah.
we still have to have good facilities to attract right this day and age.
Yeah.
We
Well,
have to
here's-
update our facilities. Period.
Oh no, I think that we need to update and maintain.
Yeah,
Because
I
we have
agree.
a problem with
You're
maintaining.
exactly
Yes.
correct. That's what I was saying before.
But the other thing is
The
this.
kids ain't gonna want to come into a facility. They look like, ugh, this nasty. What's all this?
Yeah. But
You have to show that you as a university and you're recruiting people, recruiting these kids and everything, they want to walk into a facility that they're proud of. They're like, oh, I can see me playing here. I can see me every day going here, and the workout room, and then the locker rooms, and like you said, have the trainers and everything. You have a complete system that motivates the kids, and you're able to give them all the tools. Once again, we go back to
and I want to bring something.
Be successful.
I want to make a statement. We have to understand that athletics is an arms race. Okay, it's an arms race, and there's money being thrown and thrown and thrown. If money was all it took, Texas would win every year, because Texas is throwing the most money at their football program than probably anybody in the country. More than Alabama, more than Georgia, way more than LSU, Notre Dame. They're throwing money at them. They can't pay a coach enough to come over there and turn their program around, because it takes more than money to do that. If LSU, if you like LSU stuff, go to Texas stuff. It'll blow. It's night and day. It's cool. Don't get me wrong. LSU got some good stuff, whatever, but they don't have Texas money. They don't have Texas money.
Change. You're correct.
And so if money was all it took, Texas would always win every year. And when's the last time Texas has even won a bowl game, let alone been in contention for a championship?
Very long time.
Very long time. So yes, and I'm not saying that we don't need to upgrade. We absolutely need to upgrade. But we also need to maintain until we're able to get new stuff. We have to take care of what we have. Because again, we just got a field. We just got a thing, not 2016, 2017 was the first year we got them. So we need to maintain them because we may not get another scoreboard in our lifetime.
Look, let's be honest.
Don't say that.
Dogs. We need to recruit dogs out there.
In our lifetime, really?
Ray got a good point there. We may not. Look how long it took him to get that scoreboard around from Stadium. 30-some years.
Robinson Stadium is 83. It opened in 83. Okay. So, you know.
We talking about on the scoreboard. We talking about all this other stuff. If you don't have no dogs on the field.
Absolutely.
You ain't gonna get nobody in the stands.
Exactly. And so it's yes, you have to find, yes, every department, every entity at Grambling needs to improve.
That's right.
Our alumni needs to improve. The city needs to improve. The university needs to improve. The faculty, the students, we have to go out and get better students. We have to go out and do everything we can. We have to maintain what we have. We have to pay the teachers the right salaries in order to maintain and get better teachers and upgrade that. We need to go out and give scholarships to people who are deserving of those scholarships and things like that. We have to have better customer service when it comes to when you answer the phone, when you send an email, when you do anything. We have to do better. Everything needs to get better. And it's not gonna be something that's gonna happen overnight, but you can start it right now. You can start it right now.
Something?
Sure, go right ahead, Tanya.
Jason Hatcher came and played in that same facility, and he went somewhere. You name all these people. Pettaway played in that same facility, and he went somewhere. So I can go down the list of students and athletes that I rubbed shoulders with, that I was able to see in those same facilities. I was a trainer when we were still under the tunnel in the old stadium. And then I was a part of that training staff when the new facility opened, when Ricky McCall was still here. So for me to sit there, for me to listen to people talk about, oh, it's facility, but I can tell you, when nobody else in the SWAC was putting people in, we were putting people, still getting kids going to the NFL when the SEC had kids that wasn't going. So even though we need to update facilities, I agree with Ray. We need to maintain with what we have, but at the end of the day, we need to get butts in the seats, and we need to get people, and we need to hire a coach that's going to ensure that we get those players so the legacy can continue. And that wall is not complete in Eddie Robinson Stadium. We need to finish that wall. That's
it's gonna be, there's a lot of moving parts to this. It's not just one thing that's gonna do it. It's gonna be a culmination of many things in order to get back to what we think is Grambling. So, again, like I said, the facilities, the recruitment, the infrastructure, all that has to be done. And so I know that there's going to be a lot of talk, and I hope that they announce I hope they announce the coach the Monday after the game. I really do.
I hope not.
I hope they do it the Monday after the game. Get it
I
over
hope they
with.
don't. It's been too swift of a thing to do.
Well, I mean, you're talking about you already had a week.
Damn.
I hope they don't.
How long does it take?
I hope they don't. I'm disagreeing with you on that one. That's not enough time to vet anybody.
Well, if you're doing it right, it is. You're thinking of it. You're thinking of it as if what we've been doing.
Okay.
But my thing is this: if you're the AD, and I know you well enough to know that if you're the athletic director of Grambling, you had 3 or 4 people already in mind.
Yeah, I would have had that. I would have started at the beginning of the season, given what happened.
No. I'm talking about before the season even started. You already had 4 or 5 people that you have got identified as somebody who you thought that if something happened to this coach, I got somebody to take their place.
Yeah, well, I think the reason why I say that because when you're hiring coaches, you gotta get permission from the schools to talk with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm saying doing all that.
Yeah.
Doing it the right way. I'm not saying, do it, contact them and let them know this is hey, we're doing it the proper way. If contacting, if that's the status quo, yes, we're contacting every coach. We'd like permission to speak to your coach. You know, we'd like permission to speak, especially if you're identifying, because you're going to get a group of people that you identify.
I want to say to this group though, Ray, let's not get caught up in the shiny stuff about selecting a coach. I think we're getting caught up into that, and I think if we do that, I think we've already lost a lot of Grambling's image or reputation or values in the way we've been going about doing things. This thing of going after the shiny object, you know, we're going to lose our identity if we continue to pursue that. I really do believe that. So let's be careful about what we wish along those lines.
Yeah. And I just, again, I hope that they're very thorough with their selection. They do all the background checks that are necessary in order to vet that particular candidate or candidates. And not only do you take the ones you identify, but the ones that apply. You know, so you don't, you know, some people that might apply may not be who you need. So you identify somebody that you go after them. If that person is a valid candidate that you think that will be a good fit for the program, from experience standpoint or whatever metrics that you're using in order to judge that particular candidate, then it may not be the people who've sent an application. It may be somebody else. Go ahead, Bruce.
You're going to get a flood of applications, I guarantee.
Any thoughts on getting someone from the high school ranks?
Say again?
How you guys feel about getting ranks? And the reason I ask that is because a certain G-man coaches at Carr High School in New Orleans, Louisiana. Is he a possible candidate? What's your thoughts?
Anybody who applies is a possible candidate. I mean, they just got to apply.
I don't disagree with that, but like Ray said, you can be targeting somebody too.
Well, let me add to your question, sir, because you're talking about at the Carr, and I don't have the exact number, but I know they won at least 3-4 championships in the last 5 years. You got Bruce Eugene, who's also a high school coach in New York City, who's sending talent down south. So between the two of those, they both are Grambling men who played for Grambling, and you bring a good, very strong consideration of high school coaches who could make that jump, and they would still have the interests of the university in mind if they made that jump. And one to consider strongly.
Okay. Anybody else?
Ray,
Come on, Mike.
Can you hear me, Ray?
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, I don't know if Bryce Brown down at Carr or Bruce. Well, Bruce might want to do it, but I would just be careful and to put them in a situation that they would be coming into. Because the situation we're in now, Ray, is we're in a situation where we don't a lot of followers. You know, they're alumni. And we're in a situation where we need somebody to come in and stabilize the whole alumni, stabilize our organization, and go forward. Like Mike said about we gotta be careful about the shiny car. We need somebody who's gonna be with us for the long haul. Now, whether that's a G-man or whether that's someone who has Grambling at heart, you know, I don't know, but we need someone to come in who's gonna be here for a while and at least give us everything they have. Because believe it or not, when you go out and recruit those kids know that you're gonna be here for the long haul tonight. And you gotta have the heart to go into the system to recruit those kids that you're gonna be here for the long haul. And you got to bring in the coach that's gonna be with you for the long haul. So all that's gonna be a part into the coach that we're gonna bring in. Because we don't need a coach in the next 2 years. We're looking for another coach.
Well, I think it's going to be a delicate balance, because if the team is successful, then schools are going to be coming after your coaches. If you're a successful program, they're going to come after your coaches because they want to share that same success. So I can't say that we can guarantee, yes, we would want somebody that will at least give you 4 or 5 good years, no doubt about it. I mean, that would be ideal if a person could come in build a program and successful, and they can maintain it for 4 or 5 years. But you have to know, just like think about the situation. We lost Mickey Joseph. We lost Dooley.
Yep.
Okay. Dooley went to Tech, then he went to LSU. I mean, not Dooley. Joseph went to Tech, then he went to LSU. Dooley went to Prairie View.
Yep.
Okay. So, Dooley and Mickey Joseph applied for the head coaching job at the same time that Fobbs did. People don't realize that, but he did. They did. So, yeah, they're going to be coming after him. And those coaches, if they're successful, they're going to be looking to go other places because they want to be head coaches too. So, it's a delicate balance, man. It's a hard in this landscape. Just like now, the student athletes now are able to do what coaches are doing, which are get up and move every year if they want to.
Yeah.
And so now if they want to go right now, I don't know when they're going to close that loophole, but right now, it's going to be open season because right now you're going to be looking replacing a lot of people because some people are not happy here already. They're going to lose. They're going to move. And it's going to be just like that. Every school is going to lose. It's going to have some people moving. It's going to happen. Trust me. It's going to be a lot of them.
And Ray, we've had players leave us, and now they having great seasons. That's with Brooks and that's with Higbot.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. And that's those are the types of things that you hear that don't. I don't know the true reason why those people left. Those student athletes left. I don't know. Higbottom, I know.
Yeah.
Higbottom, I know. But Brooks and those 5 or 6 linemen that left and the running back left, there's stories, but we have to. I don't think it's a far-fetched notion that we can have a head football coach at Grambling that has the charisma of an Eddie Robinson, the popularity of a Doug Williams, the X's and O's of both of those coaches plus Broadway, the hype of and the killer attitude that Spears had. I don't think it's a far-fetched notion that we can't get somebody like that. I don't think that's so far out of the realm of possibility. I think that's a real possibility. But we just have to be diligent, and we have to have people not looking for somebody now, but have been looking for somebody already. And seeing that we've had turnover in the athletic director's department, that kind of nullifies that. Being able to have 2 or 3, coaches at your disposal, knowing the ones that you okay, hey, if the basketball coach quits or I fire him, I've got 2 or 3 candidates that I've already vetted. It's just taking them through the process of getting them, application filled out, whatever. I already know who I want. Looking at the people who apply for the jobs, because think about it. How many times have you seen, like, here's a prime example. Florida just got rid of their coach. 1 game left to go on the schedule against their chief rival, Florida State. $12 million in play. $12 million in play. He gets 30 days, he gets $6 million. Over the next 6 years, he gets $1 million. That's how his contract played out. So they're doing that. There's other schools out there doing what has been done. It's just a matter of timing, whatever. So, I'm hoping that they come through with some solid candidates, some real qualified candidates, some good coaches with a mix of popularity, great experience, proven experience, hard-nosed recruiter, and being able to acquire a good and surround themselves with a great coaching staff. I don't know who that person is, but I know that person is out there somewhere, and then we just, I don't know if we can afford them. I don't know if we can afford. I don't know, but I definitely, I look forward to the process of all that, what's going on with it, and I'm hoping that we shouldn't be going into next year still looking for a coach. If we're going into next year looking for a coach, I don't think we're gonna come out of this thing looking really great. Rogers, you got your hand raised, or was that an old hand raise from you?
Oh, I'm sorry, but that was from before. But I do have a question on the coaching situation. How does this group feel about if there's a non-African American selected as a head coach? Someone who fits those qualifications you just mentioned, right?
I wouldn't support that.
All right, go ahead, Mike.
I wouldn't support that.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't support that.
Okay. You want to elaborate on that?
Define support.
Hold on.
Well, I wouldn't support that. I mean, I wouldn't support that. Listen, here's the deal. It's not a matter of being racist, and we have coaches now that are not getting opportunities to coach in the other majority situations. Lots of them, from on every level, and given Grambling's history, I don't think we have evolved to the point that's what it's going to be. Where we should be there. I just can't see that happening. I just don't. And I'm involved heavily in all the athletic stuff at all major conferences, and we're just not there. I think where we would go that route. That's a good question to throw up to Mr. Nunnery, but I just don't see that. I would not personally support that.
The reason why I brought it up, I actually saw a list and read about this one coach, and this is just people throwing out names, and it seems like the qualifications would fall in line with what we're talking about, getting someone there who's highly qualified, who can restore the program, have a good offense, good defense, etc. So I just trying to get everyone, get some viewpoints on that.
What was that name?
I can't remember the name. Sorry about that.
Okay.
We're gonna get a lot of applicants. You're gonna get some applicants for the job. I guarantee you.
And also, I brought that up because wasn't it Alcon a few years ago had the coach who left and went to Southern Mississippi.
Yeah, Jay Hobson. Yeah.
Jay Hobson, yeah. And I just wanted to throw that out there because I guess at this point we're looking at what the possibilities are, and if you have someone who fits the bills, how that would happen.
I don't doubt for a moment that we're going to get some non-African American people to apply. Because it's still Grambling is still, the name is still means something. So I think that but some coaches probably will prefer to cut their teeth as a tight end coach at a major program, and they probably see that as a bigger advancement than it is to be a head coach at a HBCU. But yeah, I mean, if they want to apply, I mean, obviously, we'll take all applicants, but I'm looking for the most qualified, the best fit, the dog in recruiting that can go in homes and sell Grambling State University to to those parents. I'm looking for somebody who can do that. And if they can't, I'm talking about them. That's send somebody. I need you to go in there and do it. I don't need you to send nobody. Okay. To do it. So
you're right. Yeah.
Whatever that may be, that's what that's what I'm personally looking for. So
to me, that would be mission surrender for the university. That's mission surrender in my perspective.
Okay. Anybody else have any say? I don't want to keep people any much longer because we've had some good conversations and good questions and good dialogue. So, and I don't want to keep people too long because I know football is football, and and I know a lot of people are interested in that. But I do want to say that this is probably going to be the last one that I'm involved with, as far as the Zoom calls. I'm hoping somebody else will, if they see fit to do it, as far as me being the moderator, whatever. I'll participate when I can, but I'm hoping that somebody else will pick that up and carry that on. So I've got enough people gunning for me already. I don't need any more.
Oh, they've been gunning for you, Ray.
Oh, man, hey, you have no idea. You have no idea. I mean, I don't care. I could care less. Because I mean, I'm not on there spreading false information. I'm not telling any lies or anything like that. It's just, if some stuff is just opinion, somebody's opinion over another one, is fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Hey, and what you said, Ray, is true because the Redskins won and the Cowboys lost. So I'm on Facebook trashing.
We know that, and don't get me started about. Don't get me started talking about. When did you get your? When did you graduate from Washington Football University? Okay, all right.
Hey, I was born into February 24, 1974. I was brought up right across the street from RK Stadium. So yes,
Ray, I appreciate
that was
you,
my
man.
university right there.
I appreciate you, Ray.
Grambling was my second university.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
All right, man. And
All right, thank you.
I see all
Thank you,
guys,
everyone.
I see all you guys at the Bayou Classic, right?
No.
Right. We know you're not coming. We know you're not coming. And we're not even counting you in the equation, man. We're not even counting you in the equation. But I'd like to thank my Go Grambling people for coming on, man. I appreciate you guys coming on and hanging out with us, man. Even though James Murphy is not a part of Go Grambling.
I am.
When's the last time you logged on?
Oh, see what happened with that?
What happened was, okay. Yeah. If it, I tell you what, I bet if it would have been the Washington football team website, I bet he'd been all on that one.
Oh yeah, I was all on there today.
Exactly.
Yes,
So that's my point. You just, hey man, you love Washington more. You love Graham. I get it. Don't worry about it. I get it. You from Washington. I get it.
When I see you in person, we're gonna have I'm gonna take you to the side. We're gonna have to have a discussion.
Hey man, I had a room for you at the Bayou Classic and everything, man. What happened? I had a room for you. Damn. So you not going? Oh well. Hey man. Hey Ed.
Hey James. When the last time you went back to campus, James? I'm just curious.
Oh, the last time I was on the yard was homecoming. I want to say it was 2017, 2018.
Oh, okay. I'm just curious.
Yeah. I've been on the yard. They still know me, and
They don't know.
I don't.
They don't know him, do they, Ray?
They don't know.
Whatever, Ray. Stop hating, yo. Ray loves to hate on.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody who came on for this fourth and probably the last show that we're going to do with regard to Grambling Athletics. We had a great time, great conversation as always. We were able to discuss some things everybody didn't agree on, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with everything, but we want voices to be heard because I like to hear people's opinions about things, and it's a learning process for me because there may be some things that I don't know about. And I'm always interested in learning because education is nonstop. So we hope that the athletic director and the president and whoever else is involved in the hiring of coaches going forward will do their due diligence and make sure that everything that is done proper and done with the best intent of hiring the best person for Grambling State University and for the student athletes that they're going to be coaching. And that's just not in football, that's in all aspects, and also in other areas for the university, teachers, grounds people, faculty, staff, everybody. So, and alumni as well, and for the city. So we look forward to seeing what comes next for Grambling State University football and 120 years plus going for Grambling State University. So you all have a great day.